we all know manufacturing and mining are the building blocks of the economy. They're constructing a place now for themselves in the new economic reality of using technology to somehow be smart and sustainable. So, how is rapid tech adoption aiding these goals? What are the avenues for transformation of the sector? How can technology help mining and manufacturing to become more sustainable? We are putting the spotlight today at Microsoft Future Ready on the Vedanta Group. With us, Vineet Jaiswal, as I said, Deputy CEO of Vedanta. He's also at the Center for Excellence, which looks at areas like asset optimization, digital innovation, IT, R&D, and quality. He's also a member of the Executive Council. Vineet, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Vikram, to talk to you.
Right. Let's dive straight in first of all. You know, mining and manufacturing. These are obviously, when it comes to sustainability, these are some of the areas that have historically been associated with a very heavy footprint on the environment, right? Lots of carbon emissions and things like that. Are these sectors now really trying to figure out how do we become more sustainable? And is that very high on everyone's corporate policies?
The whole thought process around sustainability, ESG, and all that, right? And this is core to our decision making. If you see our mission statement, we have moved it to transformation for good. This is good for community, good for society, good for people, good for everything, right? So it is very, very core to us, very close to our heart, and we feel we want to make difference in the society. The area I represent, the COE, right? The core of the COE is to make that difference or bring that difference to the company. How exactly, from whether we talk about asset optimization, making it more smarter, so that we don't have any losses there, or from quality so that the defect can be reduced. So, or from digital standpoint, right? How can we make it more efficient and more effective so that it is also safer while making it more profitable?
You know, I really do want to get into details of how you in particular have been able to use technology to make some of the changes. But first, at a slightly broader level, as I was saying, mining, manufacturing, transport, 60, 70%, some people would say, of all emissions. So that gets the rap. And there's some people who wonder whether whether, you know, if you're going to continue these activities and these activities are going to grow, what is the impact going to be on the environment? Do you believe that if done correctly, and particularly if you use technology, there's no conflict between these activities and the environment? You can actually do all of this and do it with sustainability, provided you do it right.
100% right. I will take a thought process which our chairman has, right? People always see mining as a, if I take a analogy of a surgery, right? Earlier it used to be a bloodbath. Now it is non-intrusive. In a similar way, the mining has changed now. And a lot of people don't know about it, right? That we don't have to really dig it out. There are technologies development happening in this direction also. So it is possible.
And at the broader level in industry, do you think this realization is coming? And it's also been driven, of course, there CSR norms, the other norms, you know, the sustainability norms are now coming into place. But across the industry, you think this view is gathering traction?
100%. Not only from the governance standpoint, if you think about it, lot of companies are cautious, right? While world over, companies has been talking about it, but if you see the sustainability index, right, it is improving better and better for all of us. And if we really see ourselves, we ourselves reflect it, right? What are we doing? Is it really taking us in the right direction? Yes, it is taking. Our sustainability index has in Dow Jones and all that, it has improved over years. So it reflects that not only the world is also changing, we are also making sure that we are moving in the right direction.
Okay. Now let's just get to the broader concept of how you're doing it. You know, let me just first get your thoughts on it. How do you do it? How do you do mining, as you're saying, in a laparoscopic fashion? How do you do smart manufacturing? How do you handle your supply chains and other things to make sure they're more sustainable?
So to do this, what we have done, we have adopted a Industry 4.0 framework for Vedanta, right? And all the 6 COEs which I represent, right, is working towards that. Whether I talk about assets, right, making sure that it is available and utilized well, right? So that every penny we are spending for that, we are utilizing. The emissions are minimized, right? It is working most efficiently way, right? From the quality standpoint, making sure that whatever raw material is coming, based on the availability of raw material, our manufacturing process gets tuned so that we get best out of it. Our wastes are reduced. And if you know what Vedanta, we have been converting a lot of waste back to wealth, right? As a philosophy. On the IT standpoint, right, we are making sure that our systems are more efficient. We are moving to cloud so that it is more energy efficient. We are putting a lot of governance, making sure technology let us know that it is very, very well controlled. And from the digital standpoint, our focus always has been on the top line and bottom line. And if we do that, whatever trust the society, the shareholders has on us, we make sure that we are giving best out of it.
Right. I'm going to now just go through some of those things in detail. You were talking about the cloud, and I know that you are increasing have this philosophy that why do you need data centers, the zero data center concept, that you don't need the data yourself, outsource it, and therefore you save a lot on server costs and other such things. Is that really something that you're doing across the board?
Cloud is not only about saving money, right? While as a thought process, it is definitely when you move from a capex model to opex model, but it's also making it more efficient, right? Whenever we need some kind of compute power, we can quickly get that. I will take an example of an oil and gas sector. If I really talk about the exploration process, is about 2 years process, right? Where we collect the seismic data, we take the data to, and then we analyze the data. If we move to cloud technologies, what it can actually bring it down to 6 months, because the compute power, the AI, the technology can help us get the efficiency and get to the right parameters very, very quickly. So cloud is really making a lot of difference on that. Apart from cloud, there are other technologies, right? For safety standpoint, making sure that the whatever we do in supply chain, not only we know, have the entire visibility of end-to-end view, but also making sure that everything is safer, whether it is with us or with our partners who is supplying the entire process, right? If we reduce the TAT, right, the emissions will go down. And if the emission goes down, it will anyway help environment. So anything which we are doing on the supply chain standpoint, we make sure that the TAT is minimum, the losses are minimum, we have the good visibility of whatever we are doing in the entire value chain. And in case a help is needed, quickly the information can be put to us and we can provide the help. So using the entire ecosystem is a great idea. We are in metal and mining space, right? It makes sense for us that we use the best of the partners so that it's environmentally free, right? Having our own data centers versus moving to cloud, it's always better to move to cloud because you are reducing the carbon footprint.
So that's an interesting point, right? If I hear you saying it, so that obviously having access to the technology and having access to data crunching means that time to oil, for example, is reduced, and those sort of factors do play themselves out. But if you are saying that having centralized data servers, which if you're doing it on the cloud, it's environmentally more friendly. You're burning less energy. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. That's a big thought. So lot of people when they move to cloud, they always thought about, okay, we are moving from capex to opex, and but actually if you think through, if there is a big data center and it's hosting multi companies data at one place, right? They are doing it right. We are making sure we are sweating the asset. If you really caught this as asset, right? We are utilizing maximum of that. And these companies who are the cloud providers, they can twin. So if you need more memory, they can quickly give the memory or compute power, right? Versus if you really see it for us, right? If we are trying to have our own data center, if you have to really get a more compute power, you will have the entire sourcing process, and you will lose a lot of time, and the time is money, because if you lose time, you may be not be able to do what you wanted to do faster. So I think there is a multi factor benefit of going to cloud. It's not about economy, but it's more about environment too.
Okay, that's really interesting. Now, coming to the analysis part, I mean, I've got what you're saying about the cloud now. When it comes to analysis, again, is it helping you? Because if you're managing your raw material, you're managing the supply chain, you're managing your inventory, shipments are coming in just in time. Is that something that is both Economically saving you money and potentially environmentally as well.
100%. So I will give few examples. If we have a entire view of the supply chain, right? When I say supply chain, not everything is dependent inside, right? We work with partners. Somebody is picking the material from mines, right, bringing it to us. If we have the view of entire value chain right now, what or earlier days, what used to happen, if I say that, right, we would know that at a particular time somebody will take the raw material or the iron ore or the material and bring it to us. We would assume certain tat, right? And we will say there is a variation, we will do an average variation and all that. We will only have a end of the day view as best. Now, if you have the real time view, right? Let's assume it's an underground mines, right? If you have the real time view, in underground mines, if you know, it's a one-way traffic, right? It can't both ways, right? If a vehicle is bringing a material from downside to upside, right, and in case a vehicle comes from other side, it will lose time because they have to go back, and that is also unsafer. But if you have a real time visibility, what it will do, it will make sure that it talks to the asset talks to each other in today's world, right? It will make sure that it will tell that there is a vehicle coming from other side bringing material, please give away, right? This will itself save the TAT or improve the TAT, but also save a lot of fuel consumptions, right? It will also make safer. We are working about connecting the humans with, we are giving them devices so that it also talks to our human, that there is a human movement and we have to be making the operation safer. So we are working on all this direction. It's about the ecosystem. If you really talk about the supply chain, and it is making it efficient.
No, that's a really interesting view of the future, and this is all about being future ready, and that's really interesting. Now, IoT, that's where the IoT sensors all telling each other, it's coming this way, do that, all that. Just as an aside, I'm somewhat curious. Do you have connectivity everywhere? Because some of these places, I mean, India is getting really well connected now. Most places you do have good data. What do you do if a mine or underground you don't have good connectivity? Or are you solving that problem?
Vikram, very good question. And this is not a problem just to us, entire mining sector, especially underground mines with technologies like 5G will enable us a lot. But we are also looking at other wireless technology like wirepass. It's a low data, but can be, so it all depends on the use case, right? What it makes sense for the business. So people can go for any technology which people, if it makes sense for them to go for wireless technology like 5G, because there is a lot of data movement, it's better. But if you have to really go for low data movement, right, technology like wirepass itself can solve the problem. So it depends on, so horses for the courses, if you say, right, it all depends on what you need to solve the business problem.
Okay, that's one other thing which I just wanted to get your sense of. For a larger conglomerate like yours, sometimes speeding up decision making is a very important point. And I've often heard this, and I just want to get your sense of it. Having access to data and being completely digitally enabled, you've got access to all the data, you've got a really powerful data lake which is being mined effectively, good dashboards that are there. Is that something that then really, really speeds up decision making, which has its own impact on profitability and overall efficiency? Efficiency can mean more sustainability.
Yeah, I'll share something. We are building, and we are in few places already there. We are building process digital twin, right? What exactly is process digital? It's an end-to-end view of the entire value chain of the company, where you know what exactly bottlenecks are, where it is working efficiently, right? And getting the entire view together. To enable that, technologies like IoT, platforms like data lake, right, these are very, very key to us, because while IoT is more of a edge computing where you can actually solve the problem at the edge, but sometimes you use technology like fog computing, and sometimes you have to take the data back to the cloud, right? So all these ecosystem coming together is helping solving the problem. Now, once the data is in the data lake, right, whether it's a OT data or IT data, we can create the digital thread, and that digital thread is about the process digital twin. What we are doing is we are building the process digital twin across the businesses. When it's there, we are already having the data lake platform where get the end-to-end visibility. So we are making sure of inventories are right. We have moved to technologies like 3D printing. Let me take an example of that, right? During pandemic, it was interesting that if you would have to get that particular spare, it would have taken about 45 days. But we actually made it there itself in 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And by the way, in some of that, I've been hearing these reports that you're doing things like digital twins, right? The modeling digital twins, but if you are building, digital twins and being able to model it, I can only imagine how much money and impact on the environment it would be saving, because you don't have to keep on drilling wells, for example.
Yes. So I will tell you, we already have digital twins. We have a digital twin of entire logistics or supply chain in multiple businesses, right? In SZL, if you go to a place, you will see the entire end-to-end view of that. And how are we making efficient? You will realize that it has already given us these benefits from last 4-5 years.
I certainly think so. I'm just curious. I was talking to you about connectivity, right? In minds. How about the human touch? This is obviously something which is very important. Are you finding it easy to spread the message about technology, about digital, about data, about the need to be future ready? Are you finding it easy to spread this message among the entire, and you've got a large workforce, right? To convince all of them that this is good, this helps you, this is not some fancy stuff happening that's going to be threatening your jobs. Is that communication something you're being able to do?
Yes, we are on the transformation journey from last few years, right? And there are three aspects of business transformation: people, process, and technology, right? I will take an example of each one of them. On the people side, we are making sure we are upskilling and cross-skilling them so that they understand what is the value of these technologies which we are trying to implement, and it can be adopted and sustained. That's an important thing, because if you are trying to do something, if it is not adopted or sustained, the whole value goes off. Second is on the process side of it. We are trying to make sure with our quality team and other digital team work, we are trying to understand the process, because these processes may have been set up from last a decade old or so. We are trying to see that if there is a better way to do it, maybe crowdsourcing from the world. If that is possible, do it in a better way. If not, we are doing a time and motion study. There is no technology involved there, right? Just doing a time motion study and understanding, can this process be done better? Can it be done? Something can be done parallel, right? We are always evaluating that. And the third part is technology, right? While we are educating our people how to use this technology.
All right, that's really been fantastic. What else lies ahead in the future? Edge computing, and I'm sure there are lots of other exciting technologies that you're working on. What lies ahead now?
There are a lot of stuff, right? I believe in future world, right? When we talk about maybe a couple of years down the line, if you have to look at one of our projects, right? Let's assume leave mining. If you are want to look at one of our CSR project, whether it is effective or not, right? I'm telling you, in future, like both of us will be talking, and we can also go to those locations using drones. And when we talk to each other, and it will look like we are talking there, that is going to happen. So you can yourself validate whether the impact of that is there or not. In terms of safety, right now we use AR, VR to train people. So I think that's the way I see the technology growing. It will be more efficient. While it will, I know another thing which you touched upon, are people worried about jobs? I think if people go to the history, right? Industry 4.0 we have reached, right? When it started in Industry 1.0, itself people would have threat. Okay, if things are becoming better or making smarter, people may have lost job. Actually, it created a lot of job. Similarly, with the current process, it will create more better job. I use this word AI and BI, right? While artificial intelligence should be left for the machines to help it out, the biological intelligence which human is having, right? They should use it to use those AI to make things better.
Right, that's a fascinating perspective. So, net, you think we will have a more sustainable world as industry becomes more future ready? Would that be the good summary?
Yes, sustainable, better control, and good for society.
All right. Vineet, such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great, Vikram. It was lovely catching up with you.
Thank you so much.